Most people imagine ancient Rome as a city of white marble and sprawling villas. But for 90% of the population, Rome was a vertical city of red brick, timber, and concrete slums called Insulae. These were the world's first high-rise apartments. They rose 5, 6, sometimes 7 stories into the Mediterranean sky. But in these buildings, the social ladder was inverted. Today, the penthouse is a symbol of wealth. In Rome, it was a death sentence. Today we're stepping through the portal to the 1st century to take a look at the cold engineering logic of a Roman fire trap and why the poorest citizens lived closest to the gods, but furthest from safety. On the ground floor, life was relatively good. These units were built with solid stone or high-quality concrete. They often had vaulted ceilings to support the weight above. Wealthy families or successful merchants lived there. They had direct access to the street and, in some cases, even running water. But as you climb the narrow wooden staircases, the quality of the building degrades with every step. By the 4th and 5th floors, the solid stone gives way to cheap timber and sun-dried mud bricks. The walls get thinner. The ceilings get lower. Here in the garrets, entire families were crammed into single windowless room. This is where the danger lived. Look closely at this terracotta lamp. It's small, simple, and held a few ounces of olive oil with a linen wick. In a room with no ventilation and shared wooden walls, this wasn't just a light source. It was a loaded weapon. The Roman satirist Juvenal once wrote that we inhabit a Rome held up for the most part by slender props. He wasn't exaggerating. To maximize profit, landlords built as high as possible with the cheapest materials available. If a lamp tipped over on the 3rd floor, the logic of the building worked against the residents. The fire would hit the wooden floorboards and race up the central staircase, the only exit. Because the stairs were wood, they became a chimney, sucking the fire upward, trapping the residents in the attic. The emperors knew this was a crisis. Augustus eventually passed laws limiting building heights to 70 feet. He even created the vigiles, the first professional fire brigade. But for the average Roman, the vigiles were often too late. They didn't have high-pressure hoses. They had buckets, hooks to pull down burning walls, and vinegar-soaked blankets to smother flames. When we look at these ruins today, we see the stone foundations that survived, but the real Rome, the wooden, smoky, precarious Rome of the common person, that burned away centuries ago. The next time you see a perfect Roman movie, remember the terracotta lamp and the wooden stairs. History isn't just about the monuments that stood the test of time. It's about the people who lived in the cracks of the buildings that didn't.